Yes, revivalism, a blend of African and Christian beliefs, but that's how some describe it. Its true essence has been obscured by misinterpretation for decades. And joining us this morning to explore the topic, revivalism and our culture, is the director of the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica Memory Bank, Dr. Kurt Henry. I think he's joining me online. And with me in studio is Education Outreach Officer at the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, Abigail Williams. Morning, Abigail.
Good morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica. Morning, Dr. Henry.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I am doing well. How are you?
I am good. Good to see you. From your research and involvement, Dr. Henry, why do you think revivalism is so misunderstood in Jamaica?
Revivalism is one of those African-derived religions in the island that has been demonized for many years. Mm-hmm. For example, many do not know that revivalism, there was a bill proposed in 1931 to Parliament to prohibit the practice of revivalism in Jamaica on the grounds that it contributed to mental insanity. Mm-hmm. And of course, throughout history, whatever group or individual that choose to contest the state and go against what is considered to be normal, mm-hmm. Madness was used as a weapon to silence those groups of people. We've seen through history where Alexander Bedford, for example, was classified as being mad. Bob Marley, to some extent, because they go against the grain of colonialism. Mm-hmm. And terms such as Pocomania is rife with stereotypes. The late Edward Siago, for example, mentioned that Pocomania is derived from the Spanish word poco, a little, and mania, madness. Mm-hmm. So there is still a lot of colonial prejudice that we have against African expressions.
Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to the Gleaner archives, and when you see the number of letters and articles over the years that were written about revivalism, and it's, you are correct, it's madness. I mean, it's amazing, the journey that we have come to, and that we are here and able to talk about it on Smile Jamaica. When I introduced it, I said it's a fusion between Christianity and African religious practice. Is that a fair description of revivalism?
It is to a great extent. However, there are other practices found in revivalism, such as elements of Hinduism, which mm-hmm. was brought here by the East Indians who came here as contractual laborers. And when they got here, of course, the descendants of Africans merged their religious practices with that of East Indians. Mm-hmm. And today you can find elements of Hindu practices in revivalism. One primary example is the use of the fabric madras.
Yes.
And that was brought here by the East Indians, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I went to Wat Town. I was amazed by the level of discipline that was on display, and reverence and respect, you know, which is sometimes contrary to what people will want to think about revivalism. How have you seen it in terms of a progression in the perception that we have? Has that improved in Jamaica?
We have come a far way, but mm-hmm. there's still more to do. Mm-hmm. in terms of the kinds of stereotypes that we have and how we choose to describe the movement. In my conversations with people across Jamaica, persons tend to use or prefer to use the term Pocomania, yes, as opposed to revival or Zion. Mm-hmm. So the very ways in which we go about describing these religious practices, we have a far way to go.
Yeah. Abigail, I'm going to say part of it is ignorance, yes?
Yes.
That a lot of what we know is what we hear or what's been passed down to us. How can we address this lack of knowledge? How can we gain more understanding about revivalism in Jamaica?
Okay, so as a part of our mandate at the ACRJ, we research, promote, and celebrate things in our heritage, which mm-hmm. which is African-based. Yes. And revivalism is one such. And so presently we have a tour on revivalism, and it is titled Journeying Revival Iconography. Wow. And as you raised that, when I'm touring students as education outreach officer, one of the things that they raise is this obia? And I spend much of my time as I'm going through the exhibition explaining and ensuring that they understand that this is not obia, right? So just almost demystifying some of the stereotypes, right? And in terms of the other things that we offer to educate the public about revivalism, we have a sacred attire event planned for Sunday, February 25th, which involves persons from the revival faith having on display their raiments, for want of a better word. Also, we have a youth symposium planned on spirituality for Thursday, February 29, that will involve persons from the revival community, the Eto community, the Rastafari community as well. And also, you can come visit us. We have publications, materials, we have a large collection, and information is there.
Yeah. I know the institution rebranded the ACIJ GMB, announcing the strategic rebranding with its February program. Is that Aya?
Aya.
Aya. What's Aya?
So Aya is a fern in the Akan Adinkra symbology, and it represents resourcefulness, endurance, and perseverance. Our reason for rebranding from February program to Aya is that we wanted a brand refresh, right? So Aya, our cultural engagement program, speaks to engaging, connecting, and transforming. And so one of the things we want to do is engage and connect with new audiences, as well as leverage the digital environment in keeping with cultural resource management best practices throughout various programs that we offer, just to meet people. And Aya, and we chose Aya, of course, because it is a part of our brand, it's included in our logo, and the resourcefulness, the perseverance, the endurance embodies our ethos at ACIJ in our efforts to safeguard and document African retentions in Jamaica and in the Caribbean.
Yeah, one of the things, Dr. Henry, that I find intriguing is that a lot of what we're talking about now, I don't want to say would have been clouded in secrecy. I mean, I guess our ancestors didn't have a choice. A lot of what they did, and so this is a lot about our colonial history and the things that were forced into the back benches, into the corners. That legally laws would be passed to shut them down in Jamaica. So what you're doing is not an easy task, I have to say. But I'm excited because when I hear Abigail mention the digital era, it's like coming out of the dark for me. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yes.
Indeed. And a part of our rebranding efforts is to modernize the ACIJ and allow it to appeal to a broader audience, and also for us to connect with young people. A lot of persons don't know, but revivalism is attracting a lot of young people from across the island. There's a growing youth population.
Yes, it is.
I'm an example of that. I'm a practitioner of revival and also a scholar of the movement as well. And you touched on stereotype. I hear people regarding or classifying revival as obia. But the question is, what is obia anyway?
Yep.
What is it? It's this sort of empty conceptual category in which we have grouped all of these religious practices, African religious practices together. And it's so amazing to me. As Jamaicans, we know how to properly distinguish between the various Christian denominations, but when it comes on to our African religious expressions, we cannot do that. And that is an education problem as it relates to our African practices here in the island.
Well, I'm excited about it. The ACIJ is one of my favorite agencies in the Ministry of Culture because I feel it's so important. And listen, from my own research on obia, Jamaican people would be surprised at why it is perceived the way it is perceived because of our colonial history. Thank you so much for all you do and for speaking with us this morning. Director of the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica and the Jamaica Memory Bank, Dr. Kurt Henry. And before she goes, Education Outreach Officer at the Institute, Abigail Williams, is going to tell you exactly where to find them.
We are located in the heart of downtown Kingston. It's at Kingston Mall, so that's UDC building. Come and connect with us. You can also join us on social media. We have a very active presence there, as well as our YouTube channel, ACIJ JMB.
There you go. All right. This is Smile Jamaica. We'll be right back.